This is a recorded version. New questions can't be taken. If you want to ask the question to the panelist, please join the live session every Saturday at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, New York Time, or 4:30 p.m. IST India Time.
VYGOS is Vihangam Yoga Global Online Satsang, which is scheduled every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. Indian Standard Time. Those who would miss to attend the morning session can listen to the broadcast replay on Sunday evening at 4:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time. The aim of this forum is to give the entire world an opportunity to learn the ancient science of meditation and benefit from this pious service inspired by Sadguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj, the pioneer of Vihangam Yoga. If you are interested in learning the technique or want to conduct a program at your place, and for any inquiry related to it, please feel free to write to us at info@vihangamyoga.org. That is info@vihangamyoga.org.
Jai Sudev, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Vihangam Yoga Global Online Satsang. For those of you who are listening for the first time, joining us for the first time, a warm welcome to you. We hope you enjoy your stay and get something which you can apply to your life after this first hour. For those of you who are joining us once again, thank you for your ongoing support, and let's dive straight into this week. Today's topic is arguably something which we've all asked ourselves at some point. The question is, what is the meaning of life? And I'm sure for each and every one of us listening today, we all have each of our journeys in life. Some of us are young, some of us maybe not as young, and we're trying to figure out exactly where we are, what we're doing. And arguably, no matter how much time goes on, this question continues to grow in intensity, in how much it confuses us. And eventually we reach a point where we say, I need to figure this out. When we were young, we would always ask ourselves why, and we'd always ask what. And unfortunately, the way life continues, it becomes difficult to stop and to think about the things which are important to you. Why is meaning so important? What is the meaning of life? Is meaning something which we discover, or is it something which we create for ourselves? The meaning of life is something which we can look at from many different angles. And today we'll be diving into this with a global panel who are so well equipped to talk about this that I'm extremely excited. I myself am Avinav, joining and speaking from Sydney. We'll be later joined by Lalmaniji from the US, Khushboo from India, Rekhaji from the US, Shekharji from Australia. And we'll be going through our normal kind of approach with some salutations at the start, our talk, our bhajan, Q&A, and Shanti part. And I'll be taking you through this journey as we sort of try to mimic the journey of life in this 1 hour, where we look at what is the meaning of life. So before we begin, we first stop for the welcoming, the Swagat Gan and Mangal Gan. These are prayers offered in the feet of the Master of Vihangam Yoga. Let's take a moment to align with this and invoke the blessings of the Master before we jump into this very precarious but exciting journey.
आज स्वागत नित्य गुरुवर संत शुभागम आइए, अध्यात्म विद्या दिव्य ज्योति सोमरस बरसाइए। दोष दूर गुण दूर करके शुद्ध हंस बनाइए, भेद गम गति ज्ञान गर्जन शक्ति द्वार हटाइए। खुले द्वारा शब्द सागर भक्त जन अनहवाइए, जन सदा फल विश्व शिक्षक शान आन बचाइए, शान आन बचाइए। विश्व शांति नाम मंगल परम गुरु को ध्याइए, वर्ग द्वंद्व शांति दूर कर भाव भेद मिटाइए। सार्वभौम समष्टि सत्ता त्यात्मराज बनाइए, वेश भाषा भाव जगमय ज्ञान पर दर्शाइए। समृद्धि सुख शांति धरातल स्वर्ग भूमि बनाइए, विश्व शिक्षक जन सदा फल नीति स्वर अपनाइए, नीति स्वर अपनाइए।
Thank you for that wonderful salutation to the Master. And now we're ready to dive into our topic for today. As always, if you have any questions or thoughts to share, please do remember we have 2 avenues available, and please do get involved with us. We would love to hear from you. The first number you see on your screen is the WhatsApp number. And once this goes through, you'll see the our Slido link, slido.com/VYGOS. We'll be looking at these 2 platforms very closely over the next hour. And when we come to our Q&A session, we'll be looking at all of the thoughts, concerns, questions which you all have and going through them with our panel. So our first stop for today is to dive into the Svarved. The Svarved is an utterly unique composition. You know, there's so many books out there, which I myself have read, where people write about things which they have, of course, learnt about life, but they also tend to or need to reference other people's work as well, because each of our perspectives are obviously colored by many. The Svarved is utterly unique in that it is a unique transcription of Sadhguru Sadafaleji Maharaj, the master of Vihangam Yoga's individual and distinct experience in Vihangam Yoga. And today we'll first take a stop and listen to what the master has to say about the depths of the topic for today, the meaning of life. I now hand over to Lalmanaji in the US to take us through some verses, and we'll proceed further, empowered with the words of the master.
Jai Sadgurudev Abhinavji. This is Lalmani, and I'm glad that I've been given this opportunity to read some couplets from Svarved, the Encyclopedia of Spirituality, which has been written by Sadhguru Sadafaldevji Maharaj in conscious Samadhi state. The couplets that I have chosen is from second Mandal, 4th chapter, and Doha number 20 and onwards. So the first one says, मैं उत्तम ऐसा बनूं जैसा हो ये न कोई, नहीं भूत वर्तमान में, नहीं भविष्य जग होय. Which means that I want to become a person with the best personality, which neither in the past nor in future anyone has attained or will attain. In this couplet, the finest character and highly potent personality of a human being is expected. In fact, the wish to be the best person ever is not for just oneself. The concept is to make the whole world prosper and hence myself. Our master says that individual progress cannot be free from troubles. Hence, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, which is the Indian philosophy, is advised here. We should wish everyone to make progress. Now, what exactly we need to do to attain that personality? In next couplet, Sadgurudev says, नियमबद्ध व्यतीत करूं उत्तम समय अमूल नर जीवन का ध्येय सब उपलब्ध अनुकूल. The most valuable what we have in our hand is time. We should spend our time wisely in a disciplined and controlled manner. This will help us attain all our important goals of life. उत्तम नियमित जीवन है जेहि समान नहीं कोई किया न कोई नहीं करी सके उज्ज्वल विश्व द्योति होय. Life spent in discipline is the best life. If one maintains a discipline in life, one fulfill all true wishes. The task which no one has ever done or can be done by a normal person is completely possible by a disciplined person who has full control on their body. And the next couplet is from 3rd Mandal and 7th chapter, Doha number 2, which says, Swasa ek mulya hai हीरा मूल्य नाय सुख हो तुम शयन में धोखे जन्म गवाए. Our breath is invaluable. No one can put a price on our breath. Our master says, right now we are wasting our invaluable time in sleeping. Here sleeping means ignorance. So what we perceive today is not the ultimate truth. This illusionary Maya keeps us deceiving through different thoughts, different forms. It keeps us engaged. Before our current task finishes, another task stands right behind it. And then once the current task finishes, we start working for the another task, and then another task, and then another task. So our master alerts and says, don't be fooled by Maya. Wake up and look for the ultimate truth. That's the reality. So with this, I would end my Swarved couplet chanting, and I would hand over back the mic to Abhinavji. Jai Sri Gurudev.
Thank you so much, Lalamaniji, for sharing those incredible verses with us. The Master is telling us that we have to become the best version of that we can be of ourselves. A life of discipline and routine are the most powerful tools that we can apply in order to arrive at that version which we are after. And it's a great reflection point. If there is an opportunity for you to define what the best version of you can be, within that you will see what you define to be the meaning of your own life. Because the things which you want to optimize yourself for will hopefully align with the meaning which you have of your life. But what the Master is telling us here is that the meaning of life is distinct from the reality which we perceive. And this is a great reflection point and introspection point where I will stop thinking and sharing my thoughts, and instead I'll ask us to move towards our main speaker of the day, who will inevitably take us through these concepts and things. So today we'll be joined by Khushboo from India, who is a company secretary at Ved Prakash Power. She's been in Vihangam Yoga for 1 decade, and I'm sure she has plenty of incredible experiences and thoughts to share. I'm very excited to hear from her, and I'm sure we all are. So without any further me speaking, let's hear from Khushboo and see what she has to tell us about the meaning of life.
Thank you, Abhinavji, for the kind introduction, and thank you, dear listeners, for joining in. So then, what is the meaning of life? When I asked my 9-year-old daughter, she replied, studies, play, sports, eating, and sleeping. As a working mother, my list would read work-life balance, living every moment, happiness, and satisfaction. My husband said it's a journey with an end goal. Exploring the world, its cultures, food, and places is what a traveler friend of mine said. My parents said that spending time with their grandchildren is what life is all about. Mitch Albom, a sports writer, would visit his former professor Maurice Schwartz, who was suffering from a degenerative condition. He wrote the best-selling book Tuesdays with Maury, based on his discussions with the professor. Here is one gem of wisdom from amongst the many. So many people walk around with a meaningless life. They seem half asleep, even when they're busy doing things they think are important. This is because they are chasing the wrong things. The way you get meaning into your life is to devote yourself to loving others. Devote yourself to your community around you. And devote yourself to creating something that gives you purpose and meaning. I find these words to be significant: love, devote, create, meaning, purpose, and community. As a teacher and a student of meditation, I looked to Sadhguru Dev Ji and Sant Pravarji's thoughts on the subject of life. Here are the gems of wisdom that I learned from their recent discourses. As per ancient Indian texts, a person's life is assumed to be of 100 years. This is divided into 4 stages of ashrams of 25 years each. Brahmacharya, from birth to 25 years of age. Grihasth, from 25 to 50. Vanprasth, from 50 to 75. And Sannyas, from 75 to 100. It occurred to me, why is each stage called an ashram? Sadhguru Dev Ji in his speech has said, an ashram is where we do shram, or hard work. Hence, each stage or ashram has its own set of responsibilities, work requirements, and perspectives. The goal, however, remains the same: union of the soul with the Supreme Soul. And this is the purpose of life. Sant Pravarji said, when we are in a particular stage of life, we have to immerse ourselves in it temporarily, just as we do when we take a dip in a river. We should not drown ourselves in the river. We should stay in a stage of life, fulfilling its duties, but not being swept away by its currents. We should emerge from a dip in the river of material life and work consistently towards our overall goal. Grihasthashram is the foremost of all ashrams, he said. From here emanate all the other ashrams. The great sages who went from mind to moksha were mostly grihastha yogis. In this stage of life, we can be grihasth, that is householders, as well as sannyasis, that is renunciants, or grihasth sannyasis. What I understand is that we can love our families, careers, and community, and at the same time be detached. This is a way of life known to true yogis. The secret is vairagya or tyag or renunciation, said Sant Pravarji. For one who is born in the world, sorrow and happiness are constant companions, like a rose with thorns, or like the scorching sun and the relaxing shade. Nature is ever changing. Action or karma gives fruit. The accumulated karma of our past gives us our present. We create our own mindset, approach to life, behavior, and destiny. In fact, we create our own involvement in Maya, the illusory, ever-changing world, said Sant Pravarji. Albert Einstein once said, reality is merely an illusion, albeit a very persistent one. Don't cling to things because everything is impermanent, said Mori, referring to Buddhist philosophy. No matter how much Maya distracts, the true disciple of the Sadguru remains steadfast in his or her path of seva, satsang, and sadhana, which impart direction and movement towards the final goal, God realization. Disciples have different motivations in the path of spirituality. As given in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, verse 16, the Arhat disciple is pained and distressed. The Artharthi desires worldly possessions. The Jigyasu is curious. The Jnani is wise and wants to know the truth. They are all treading the path of spirituality, albeit at different speeds and at varying levels of advancement. Here is how the journey to the final goal of God realization proceeds. The consciousness of a soul attains different levels in the 6 states that it can exist as per the science of Brahma Vidya Vihangam Yoga. The 6 states in which a soul can exist are, in descending order of divinity, Hans Deha, superconscious state, Kaivalya Deha, conscious state, Mahakaran Deha, prime causal state, Karan Deha, causal state, Sukshma Deha, subtle body, and Sthul Deha, gross body. The Atma is capable of associating itself with Paramatma, the Supreme Soul or God. In the association with Paramatma, the soul's consciousness increases infinitely and at the same time, it partakes his supreme bliss. It thus acquires all the qualities of Supreme Being. This is the superconscious state of Atma. In this state, there is likelihood that a soul may delude itself to be identical with the Supreme Being. This deluded state of the soul is called its Kaivalya state. A soul is always a soul. It never becomes Brahma. A piece of iron fallen in fire becomes red and starts glowing like it. But soon as it is taken out of fire, it gradually loses its qualities of fire and becomes an iron piece again. Kaivalya state meets with a similar fate. As soon as the ego of I am Brahma crops up in the soul, it no longer cares to remain in the zone of nectarine bliss and tends to move towards the zone of creation. When this tendency becomes firm, the soul is said to be in the prime causal state. And finally, when it actually enters the zone of creation, it attains the causal state. When it wishes to enjoy worldly pleasures, it acquires a subtle body which enters into the mother's womb and comes out in the manifested world in a gross body. The gross body is equipped with 5 sense organs, namely ears, skin, eyes, tongue, and nose, to receive sensations of sound, touch, form, taste, and odor. And 5 organs of actions, namely tongue, hands, feet, genital, and anus, to perform the functions of speech, grasp, motion, reproduction, and excretion. In addition, there are 4 inner organs, namely man or mind, buddhi or intellect, chitta or memory, and ahankar or ego. Of these 14 organs, the mind is the most important since it activates and controls all other organs. It is the mind through which the consciousness of the soul flows in different organs of the body. The intellect is endowed with discriminating power. The memories of past actions and various desires and tendencies of the soul are impressed on the chitta. The ego is responsible for the constant feeling of I am the doer in all actions and that one performs. To provide energy to the body and its various organs for their proper functioning, 5 life forces called pranas act incessantly in the body. These life forces are pran, respiration, vyan, blood circulation, saman, digestion, apan, excretion, and udan. The last one provides the energy for transplanting the subtle body in the mother's womb and also for separating the subtle body from the gross body at the end of life. The 5 pranas as well as the 10 outer organs and 4 inner organs are all present in the subtle body in seed form. The gross body passes through the stages of birth, childhood, adolescence, youth, senility, and death. The death is the separation of the subtle body from the gross body. In the gross body, the soul experiences the different worldly pleasures, which are short-lived and invariably followed by misery. It goes through the cycle of love and hate. Love for the pleasurable objects and hate for those which give pain. It indulges itself in various actions to fulfill its desires. Each desire feeds and multiplies on other desires. The Atma in the subtle body takes another birth in one of the millions of species depending on the desires and tendencies of the previous lives imprinted on the Chit. The process is repeated ad infinitum and the soul finds itself shackled in the endless chain of births and deaths. The soul forgets its real nature and identifies itself with its body. When it finds the miseries of its body unbearable and craves to find a way out, another conscious entity, the eternal Sadguru or his anointed Sadguru, begins to guide him on the path of salvation. The performance of unattached actions, Karma Yoga, is not possible unless the Atma frees itself from the bondage of Prakriti by Brahma Vidya or Vihangam Yoga and becomes a Jivan Mukt. Then it exercises full control over the mind and the body and is free from all selfish desires or passions. It resorts to only benevolent actions called Karma Yoga. Freed from all shackles, it becomes more powerful than ever and is capable of activities far beyond the capacity of ordinary mortals. We read and hear of worldly great men being described as karma yogis by their admirers. They are usually workaholics who work for long hours just to earn more money or fame. Their insatiable desires goad them to strenuous work. They are just doing sakama karma. There are others who are devoted to social work. They are certainly a boon to society and they are loved and respected by society, and it is for that reward that they work hard, even neglecting their health and comforts. Much they desire to be selfless, their desire lurks in his type of action, bears fruit whether done willingly or forced by circumstances. It is true that nobody can remain without indulging in some action, mental, verbal, or prakritik. Satoguna, Rajoguna, and Tamasoguna force man to indulge in activity. In this state of helplessness, it is best to choose actions which have more of Satoguna than Rajoguna or Tamasoguna. By such actions, one moves on the right path of liberation. Such actions are called vikarma. It is only when the soul stands as an observer and thinks of all actions performed by the influence of gunas of Prakriti that is not attached to the fruits of action and can be called a karma yogi. This is only possible after self-realization, which is an important goal on the way to God realization. Albert Einstein said, "There are only two ways to live your life. One is as though nothing is a miracle. The other is as though everything is a miracle." I invite you, dear listeners, to experience everything as a miracle by learning the simple process of meditation from any of my fellow teachers of Vihangam Yoga at our centers worldwide. As Sadhguru Devji writes in the Swarved, the encyclopedia of spirituality, the mind is wavering. Detachment without reasoning is therefore nothing but a wave of mind. Those who set forth in the field of spirituality, heeding the momentary impulse of the mind, do not derive any real joy of the pursuit of spiritual sadhana. Because their detachment is not actual but born only of a momentary impulse, they soon fall from that goal. Their aim resides in their mind and therefore waxes or wanes with the tides of the mind. That is, its phases of rise and fall. When benign qualities, restraint, suppression of base instincts become manifest in the seeker, it is then that detachment in him becomes lasting. The minds of pure souls remain calm and steady due to their truthful conduct, firm resolve, and true devotion to the Guru. Such seekers through complete detachment, known as Vairagya, hold the ideal in their selves and forge ahead in the realm of spirituality. Therefore, one must proceed on the path of bhakti with firm resolve and a clear state of mind without any ambiguity, forsaking all desires and encumbering of the mind with total faith in real knowledge of the Sadguru for the sake of the advancement of the self. I would like to thank my fellow speakers and listeners for joining today's Global Online Satsang. Please visit us at www.vihangamyoga.org for contact details and more information on how Vihangam Yoga meditation has transformed and given new meaning and purpose to the lives of millions around the world. May the Sadguru bless you.
Thank you so much, Khushboo ji, for sharing such a wonderful speech on the meaning of life as per the spiritual principles. As Khushboo mentioned, we have a website where you can find out a lot more about Vihangam Yoga. And I'm going to add on just 2 more links and social media details for you as you continue to think about the things which we just spoke about. First is slido.com/VYGOS, which is coming onto the screen just now. And after this, our WhatsApp number, where you can use either of these avenues to share any thoughts, concerns, questions which you have, which we will be going through in the section after the one coming up now, which is the bhajan. So to just shortly reflect on some of the things which Khushboo mentioned, the spiritual principles give us a way of structuring our existence. We have the 4 ashrams of life, as she very wonderfully explained to us and really showed us the value of the word ashram, where we perform hard work, we're diligent, aligned with particular goals in that portion of our life. The meaning of life per spirituality, we looked at it just now. We want to ascend through the 6 states of consciousness, and we also want to ascend beyond the temptations of the senses. There's a topology and a map of our existence. There's the mind, the body, the soul, and the fact of the matter is, all of the constituting things in each of these components, the different things which Khushboo mentioned, the organs, the ego, the chit, each of these things, they exert forces on our existence. And as we reflected on these things with Khushboo, we understood that the meaning of life, one of the most important objectives and meanings of life, is to free ourselves from all these forces. We want to be firm with ourselves and be honest with ourselves. Is this the best version that I can bring of myself to the world? Is this the most impact I can have on the world? We want to go beyond the mere chemistry of instant reward and self-congratulation, and instead, we want to grow into people who have an impact on anyone we meet. And this path of continuous growth and compassion is something which is very dear to the hearts of everyone in the world, and everyone sees the beauty of it. And Vihangam Yoga, as Khushboo very wonderfully explained and shared with us, is one of the most clear and simple ways in which we can go forth on this path of continuous growth, improvement, and compassion. I'd just like to thank Khushboo once again for sharing such a detailed and comprehensive discourse on all of the things which affect us in life and where we ultimately want to go. So now, before we go towards our Q&A session, we have the bhajan. So today I'll be joined by Rekha from the US. And before I hand over to Rekha, once again, if you have any questions, thoughts, please do visit slido.com/VIGOS or our WhatsApp number, which is just on the screen now. So without further ado, I'll hand over to Rekha from the US to share our beautiful bhajan with us, after which we will dive into our Q&A session.
Thank you, Abhinavji, and Jai Sadgurudev, everybody. Today's bhajan is Gyan Guru ka lele bande, fir piche pachtaega. This bhajan says, O soul, you have come to this world and getting fooled by the pleasures of this land. Please wake up and seek the shelter of Sadguru before it is too late. So let's hear the bhajan. Gyan Guru ka le bande, fir piche pachtaega re, fir piche pachtaega. Gyan Guru ka le bande, fir piche pachtaega re, fir piche pachtaएगा. तू कहता है मेरी काया काया का अभिमान क्या तू कहता है मेरी काया, काया का अभिमान क्या जान सा सुंदर ये तन तेरा, मिट्टी में मिल जाएगा फिर पीछे पछताएगा। ज्ञान गुरु का ले ले बंदे फिर पीछे पछताएगा रे, फिर पीछे पछताएगा। वहाँ से क्या तू लाया बंदे, यहाँ से क्या ले जाएगा। वहाँ से क्या तू लाया बंदे, यहाँ से क्या ले जाएगा। मुट्ठी बांध के आया जग में हाथ पसारे जाएगा, फिर पीछे पछताएगा। ज्ञान गुरु का ले ले बंदे फिर पीछे पछताएगा रे, फिर पीछे पछताएगा। बालापन में खेला खाया आई जवानी मस्त रहा, बालापन में खेला खाया आई जवानी मस्त रहा। बूढ़ापन में रोग सताए खाट पड़ा पछताएगा, फिर पीछे पछताएगा। ज्ञान गुरु का ले ले बंदे फिर पीछे पछताएगा रे, फिर पीछे पछताएगा। समझ सके तो समझ ले बंदे आखिर तो मिट जाएगा। समझ सके तो समझ ले बंदे आखिर तो मिट जाएगा। कहत कबीर सुनो भाई साधो करने का फल पाएगा, फिर पीछे पछताएगा। ज्ञान गुरु का ले ले बंदे फिर पीछे पछताएगा रे, फिर पीछे पछताएगा। ज्ञान गुरु का ले ले बंदे फिर पीछे पछताएगा रे, फिर पीछे पछताएगा। बोलिए सद्गुरुदेव की जय। Over to you, Abhinav ji.
Thank you so much, Rekha ji, for sharing this beautiful bhajan with us. As Rekha ji explained, this bhajan encompasses this feeling of we're in this world and sometimes we're confused, sometimes we're lost, and we have to seek a master, a guide, who can give us the knowledge we require that is necessary for us to be clearer and be more proficient, be more aligned with the correct forces in our lives. So thank you once more to Rekha ji. Next, we come to our engagement with you wonderful listeners, our Q&A session. In this part of the session, we'll be joined by Shekhar ji from Australia, who is a quality and compliance manager at Open Colleges and has been involved and practicing Vihangam Yoga for many years now. As we've been reflecting today, the topic of today is the meaning of life. And we've heard from you wonderful viewers about the different aspects of life which can deter and concern each and every one of us. There's physical stimulation, there's difficulty achieving discipline, and these are things which ultimately can give us a lot of grief at different points in time and in our lives. I know for myself that there's been so many times in my life where a lack of discipline has given me so much unhappiness, because a lack of discipline is two things. It's knowing what it means to be disciplined and lacking it. So being in that position makes you feel very, very powerless, and it makes it very difficult to enjoy your life. And I'd like to put this very first question to Shekharji here. We all know the importance of discipline and routine in life. How can we achieve this despite all of the different difficulties and forces which are acting upon us?
Thank you, Abhinav. This is a question which relates to all of us, and quite frequently we want to find a solution to this, but we struggle to find an answer. I think to be disciplined in life is to follow a particular routine for a defined purpose which you have set for yourself. And when you do it in a diligent way, on a day-to-day basis, even if you have multiple obstacles coming in your life, that's what clearly shows that you are disciplined and you are proceeding in that direction to achieve what you have set out to achieve. Now, the question comes here is that, yes, it is easy to say and to define what discipline is, but how do I actually achieve it? Because there are too many conflicting thoughts or priorities which comes and challenges. So it comes down to the most fundamental question we must ask ourselves. What is it that takes our attention, takes our energy away from the goal we have set for ourselves? And once we start to look deeply into it, it all comes down to the fact that it is the control over our mind which ultimately leads or deviates us completely from the discipline path which we have set for ourselves, which we want to walk on to achieve our goals. So as a practitioner of a spiritual meditation practice, we're talking about Vihangam Yoga practice, as we start to develop that level of mental strength, that level of control over our mind, that's where we start to find ourselves that we are able to free ourselves from those conflicting factors which have the potential to completely take us away from the path we want to go on. So I hope this answers the question. It comes down to us how efficient we are and how diligently we are practicing so that we are able to control the mind, which is the primary source of our success, or completely losing the way where we want to go.
Yeah, thanks very much for that. Definitely can see the value in controlling the mind as it's the source of all this discomfort and turbulence. And we have another question here from Manoj Kumarji, who is speaking about his fondness of physical stimulation, and he wants to get rid of it, but he's not sure how to. And I think this is a question which some of us often find uncomfortable, but I'd actually like to really congratulate Manojji on being so open. This is a very difficult thing to say, that I'm very fond of physical stimulation and how do I get rid of it. I think we live in a world which very much is centered around this concept of physical stimulation. And I think a question I'd like to put to you, Shekharji, is how do we, navigate a world where physical stimulation has become such a key part of mass media, of the discourse and the conversation in the modern day and in the modern world? How do we navigate this world And how should we approach and think about these things?
Thank you, Abhinav. I think it comes down to the ultimate understanding of what Khushboo was talking about, and I would like to first address it in a taking to the spiritual aspects, which understanding of those concepts and understanding of the reasoning behind it will always help us in becoming much more stronger and being more clearer of how do we walk a path or be aware of where we can get carried away very easily. So the concept of the four ashrams, as our ancestors set for us, was the first ashram was known as the Brahmacharya ashram. Now, why Brahmacharya ashram? Why the name Brahmacharya? It was the message behind that is when you are on the path of learning, this is the time where nothing else, no external forces, no matter how it sounds or feels like, must distract you from the path of learning. Now we know that the physical stimulation is a natural phenomena. It is not something which is created by some individuals and is a foreign thing for some others. It is common for everyone. But that's why our ancestors said that once you have acquired the knowledge at that point in time, your focus, your energy must be going more towards acquiring the knowledge and the skills and understanding what is the path of dharma and what are the things which you want to achieve in your life, establishing your purpose and moving towards it. Once you achieve that, then the next ashram is the Grihastha ashram. So our saints, they told us that yes, that's a need for the body. It's recognized. And they said that when you are in a Grihastha ashram, that's where you have your families, you have your kids, you have a larger community, and you fulfill your desires at that point in time, but remembering that you do not deviate from the path of dharma, walking the path of dharma, using the skills which you acquired in a full focus, you go through that stage of life. Once you have been through the Grihastha ashram, that's when they say that now it's time that you must start to unwind yourself from these physical pleasures and slowly start moving towards a stage where you are slowly withdrawing your own senses from the materialistic things and try to do more seva and support others. And then the last stage or the last ashram where it says that you must now completely step away from this world and go and meditate upon that highest being so that you find that path, the ultimate goal of your life of getting yourself free from this cycle of life and death, the moksha. I will again talk about the purpose of life from a spiritual perspective is to achieve four goals: dharma, arth, kam, and moksha. So we have heard this many times, but what is the physical interpretation of this, the worldly interpretation of this? The first comes the dharma. Why it comes first? Because we as human beings first must understand the purpose of life, must understand how do we live in this world, how do we behave with others, what is ethics, what is integrity, how we do the things in a righteous way. That is what dharma is. Once we understand the dharma, then it says that you have the authority to go and acquire as much of wealth as you want. Go and fulfill all your physical desires you want. But remember that walking the path of dharma, an ultimate goal is the moksha. Now coming to the specific question here, what causes us to be attracted more towards physical stimulation? And once you are always thinking about it, it can become a sort of addiction for some. I would like to again repeat here that anything or any thought or any addiction It comes and it emanates from one source, which is your mind. It is the mind which draws your energy from the soul and scatters it all over the world. So it's only when you try to get a better control over it, it will start to give you the perspective of life that, hey, am I really spending my energy on the righteous thing? Am I actually spending my energy on things which are going to last forever, which is going to give happiness to others? Or is it about being selfish and thinking of myself only and focusing on things which are momentary and temporary? These thoughts will automatically guide us towards a more genuine thinking, and hopefully once we start to become more disciplined towards the meditation practice of Vihangam Yoga, we'll find ourselves that our mental strength guides us and helps us in achieving our freedom from these materialistic thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shekharji. I think that's all the questions which we'll be able to go through for today. But thank you for our listeners. Thank you to all of you for sharing all of your questions, concerns, and thoughts with us. Please do continue sharing anything which you would like for us to look at and discuss at any point during the week. We check these avenues of WhatsApp and Slido quite often, and we definitely make sure that we look at all the things which you're thinking about every Sunday when we convene on this platform. So now I'll request for the closing bhajans to be, the Shanti part to be presented to us, after which we'll do a quick summary and then go towards the end of our session.
विराग त्याग की शांति हो, उदासीनता शांति, सेवा जित शिष्य शांति हो, सत्य शांति हो शांति। हे प्रभु शांति स्वरूप हो, शांति शांतिमय शांति, शांति शांति जन शांति हो, पूर्ण शांतिमय शांति। प्रभु शांति प्रदान कर, दूर हो सर्व अशांति, देव सदा फल शांति में, शांति शांति सुख शांति। हे प्रभु शांति प्रदान कर, दूर हो सर्व अशांति, देव सदा फल शांति में, शांति शांति सुख शांति।
So firstly, I'd like to thank everyone who joined us today, from Lalamani from the US to Khushboo who presented our prime speech of the day, Rekha who shared a wonderful bhajan, and Shekharji who just joined us for the Q&A session. Today's topic was, what is the meaning of life? And what can we really take away from this hour? Well, I've noted down 3 things which I personally am taking away, and I hope that these things are similar to the things which you are all thinking about and looking to take away from today. We heard today that the objective of life is to align with something greater than ourselves. We of course want to be self-learned, self-composed, and growing ourselves. But we also want to ensure that the purpose is not only elevating ourselves, but those around us. The objective of life is to become the best version of ourselves. We have such a short time with all of the people we love and the society we live in. We have to ensure our impact on the world is beyond the mere entanglements of the material, and we want to align with our inner self in a manner which is unattached. We want to make sure there's no biases and we have a clear understanding of who we are. We also, finally, want to use these things to grow our impact on the world. The chemistry of instant reward, physical stimulation, self-congratulation are so limited, and they don't give us a way in which we can truly enjoy and live a life which doesn't just transform us, but transforms those around us. Vihangam Yoga gives us a way to navigate all of these things, and arguably the deal, or if you could call it, of practicing 10 minutes twice a day seems quite nice and quite simple. And it really is. We practice this technique twice a day and we see these things in our own lives. And as the speaker for today, or as the host for today, as we come to a close, I'd love to convey to all of you wonderful listeners, definitely do consider giving this a try. It's changed my life and the lives of the many that I am attuned with and communicate with daily. So thank you, and let's reconvene next week. Jai Sudev.